And welcome one and all back to the Valiant Shade. You're here with a man named Jack and Best Thigh. This is like episode 6 of the night. This might be the last episode of the night.
Is it? I thought we were only on like episode 4.
We've recorded, it feels like we've recorded a lot of episodes so far. I haven't been keeping track of time. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5.
Okay.
We were both wrong,
Okay.
but close. Alright, so, glad I talked to her. Mondo, hey. Dude had a real complex about being weak. You heard Chihiro talk about it, right? I need to get stronger. Yeah, I remember she said that more than once. Sure did, which I guess explains the trip down here. But did she really need to get stronger that badly? You already mentioned it, but she was a girl after all. Most girls aren't all that strong unless they train for it and build their muscle. A girl who builds her muscle and works out can easily become stronger than a dude. No sexism here. If you work at it, you can become stronger. That said, on average, if you do not work out, the average man who does not work out is stronger than the average woman who does not work out. Facts. Sorry if that offends someone.
That's just biology. Sorry.
Yeah, biology. I got a woman here agreeing with me. That means it's not sexist, right?
Well, because, see, I've always wondered, if you got the strongest man in the world and the strongest woman in the world, who would be stronger? And I would think because of biology, it would actually be the man. And I'm a feminist, guys. I believe that if the woman worked at it even more than the man, she could. But strongest man is probably stronger than the strongest woman.
That's a great question because it would bring up biological limitations and.
But I think it also depends on the kind of training. How do you measure strength that way?
I mean, I know that Olympic deadlifting and stuff like that has a men's and a women's category, so I'm assuming that there is an upper limit and there is some sort of biological influence that plays into the upper limit a person can reach, because if the upper limit was the same regardless of gender, then there wouldn't be a need to split them based on sex. But since the Olympics does split them based... Actually... Nah, I don't have time to Google the world records, but... Anyways, I'm not a biologist. I don't know that much. I'm just a techie screaming at the internet.
Yeah, for all I know, these tests could have been performed already, but I don't care enough to look it up. I just wonder.
Probably. Anyways.
And if you do know, feel free to leave it in the comments. And cite your sources.
Rule number 1, cite your sources. It doesn't help your argument and it won't change people's minds, but you feel better about yourself. I haven't really thought about that stuff. Cause of Chihiro's complex. Can't help wondering what it might be. Now I believe it's about time for us to move on. Huh? Already?
What?
New clues won't magically appear by standing around here. We need to check every aspect of this case. That's true, but...
Let's go.
If you're satisfied, let's hurry up and proceed.
Why wouldn't he just take Kirigiri? Because Kirigiri obviously knows her shit.
Clearly.
But and again, when you think of it as a game, of course you would take Makoto, because Makoto's the main protagonist.
So, this is our next location. Huh? This is related to the investigation? Figure it out yourself. It's no fun if you don't, right?
Wait, hold on. Which room did you just come out from?
We came from the girls' locker room.
Okay.
And this is the floaty room before the locker room.
Okay.
Maybe his gun was... Nah, she'd be riddled with bullet holes. Keypad's worth looking at. If I remember right, card readers meant to work with our handbooks.
What?
Do you have an issue with it? If so, you should take it up with Monokuma. He said that quickly and sharply clapped his hands together.
Did you call for me?
You called? Has he been domesticated?
He should have thigh clapped Makoto. Here, Makoto. Or
That's
Monokuma,
right.
which one are you?
It seems that Makoto has a question for you.
You need something?
Sure, what's up? Well, it's just about this, card reader.
Yep.
Yeah, card readers have all been designed to interface with each of your e-handbooks. You can only enter the locker room corresponding to the gender listed in your individual handbook. Not the gender that you are, the gender that's listed. Is this game going to bring up trans characters? Maybe? Probably not. It's 2010. And it's impossible for two people in a row to go through while the door is unlocked, correct?
I mean, 2020 in America is different than 20...
If
or
they were
2010 is different in America than it was in Japan. I'm just putting that out there.
If they were some sort of erotic terrorist on the prowl...
Erotic?
The ceiling-mounted Gatling gun would initiate a Swiss cheese slaughter. The school regulations prohibit anyone from lending someone else their handbook, correct?
Of course!
Correctly correct. So then, means no, that's not what that means. If a man steals a woman's book and then opens it and they're the only person to go in, they can do that. Also, you could kill someone, steal the booklet, open the door, and drag the body through. And that would probably still only count as one person. Makoto, do not draw false conclusions.
False? I don't know about that. Wrong? Sure.
Okay, well, here's logically weak. Logically incorrect. This conclusion does not hold strict logical law.
Well, I think Makoto asked the wrong question. What happens if you steal?
Yes. He asked the wrong... But here's the
or
thing.
Or take one of the handbooks from the already dead characters.
If this is the game developers cluing us in that this isn't important to the case, that's one thing. If this is the game developers misleading the player with the character's own words, that is incredibly poor design.
I disagree. I think this case is...
That's if. I don't know what it is yet, but if it turns out that a male went into the female's locker room and Makoto is wrong in this moment, that is... Okay, it's up to interpretation. But on a matter of principle, I would vehemently disagree with having the main character mislead the player. Having another character draw a weak conclusion, that's different. That's totally fair game.
I would disagree if this were a standalone thing. However, it's not.
In other words...
Because we'll get to it in V3 eventually, but this is actually smart, and it does in fact feed into the overall narrative of what's going on outside of this world.
Okay,
So
but I'm going to take this game as self-contained because it's the first entry in the series.
I mean, I suppose. I don't know how far in advance Kodaka had this planned out. However, even if as an isolated instance, I would say, of course, Makoto is that stupid.
Her body being found in the locker room means, hey Makoto, I can see right through you. See right through me? Allow me to tell you what you're thinking. Since her body was found in the girls' locker room, the killer must have been able to get in there.
So in other words...
As such, the killer must be one of the girls. Did I get it right?
Such ignorance.
Good lord, you're simple. But am I wrong? You should pay closer attention to the Okay, I withdraw my complaint. Because Byakuya's here to correct Makoto's idiocy. Thank you. I withdraw complaint. Everything is fine. Good game design. Rant over. Loaning your e-handbook to another student is strictly prohibited. Only the act of loaning a handbook is prohibited. Borrowing someone else, borrowing and loaning are the same word. Translation error.
I don't agree. You're allowed to borrow it. I'm not allowed to hand it out.
Okay, but in English, borrowing and loaning describe the same action from opposite viewpoints.
I mean, yes, but that's exactly what he's getting at.
But if someone borrowed it, that means someone had to loan it, and then the person who loaned it would then be killed by Monokuma for breaking the rules.
Because Monokuma is just that fucked up. But also, borrowing doesn't mean that it's being loaned out. Like, hey, I'm stealing this from you without your knowledge, but I intend on giving it back later, so it's borrowing.
But I would say the word stealing more correctly applies there, because if the person doesn't know something is being borrowed, then it's stealing. Mm-hmm. Like, I would say that is not a translation mistake, but certainly a choice of words that I don't think fits what they're going for. I think stolen would have fit what they're trying to convey a little bit better, but again, translation's hard.
Again, I have to disagree because I know what happens in this case, so...
Okay.
And I'm really, really trying.
Okay, don't spoil anything. Like, let me work through it, but I maintain that borrowing and lending are the same action from opposite sides, and that you cannot borrow something without someone else lending it to you. If you borrow it something and they did not lend it to you, you borrowed it without their permission, you stole it. And it's a language quibble is what I have with this. But lesson learned, moving on.
I don't think in this particular game that it's, no pun intended, Monica, excuse me, it's that black and white. There are shades of gray.
Especially,
and that's the point of, like, you don't want to mix up semantics too much.
I mean...
Especially because someone is dead.
Yeah, you're right. It's just logic.
It'd be way too easy to just point at the killer, you know?
Yeah, it would. But I am drawing my conclusion that it is stealing is totally acceptable. Because that's the end point here, is that someone could take it without the person lending it, without their permission, and then use it to get it.
But does Monokuma think of it as that?
I mean, he's laughing, so he's like, yeah, you're right, you sniffed out the loophole. Monokuma agrees. Stealing's okay.
Well, but he thinks of it as borrowing, though.
I'm still gonna say that it's a not sloppy, but an imprecise translation. And from how this scene is playing and what the characters are saying, I think stealing would fit the mood and the point better. But again, that's a semantic and it's irrelevant. Mm-hmm. Knowing you, I bet you created it on purpose, didn't you? To add a little more excitement to things.
Yaha!
Yaha! You're treating me like a puny little appetizer instead of the main course that I am. Now then, since the dead can't actually talk, they're not people anymore. They're things.
Yep.
Get it? Got it? Good. So, a killer could kill someone, use their handbook, open the locker room, and drag the object in, and it would only be one person going in. They wouldn't get shot. Good. Mm-hmm. You're saying there's a loophole, but in order to borrow something, that means someone would have to loan it, so sleepy. Just listening to you makes me want to pass out. Be more like Byakuya and get your poop together. Else I'll charge you with criminal negligence. No more questions. Figure out the rest your own damn self.
See, so it was addressed.
I guess if you borrow something from someone who's dead, you can then give it back. And it wouldn't be stealing, it would then be borrowing in that sense. But you can't really borrow from a corpse. You can loot a corpse, but...
I mean, again, unless you plan on giving it back out of respect for the dead, I don't know.
Linguistic semantics, it doesn't matter on moving forwards. You're right. Well, I know you are unfortunate. See, even Byakuya knows that my man's an idiot. Let's head to the main hall. The main hall? That'll help you understand what's going on. Nice. Card reader added to truth bullets. We came to the main hall. So, what are we looking for here, boss?
Where?
Does that mean I have to figure it out? Yeah. Alright, what's this? Door. Hunk of metal blocking the entrance. Seems like some kind of machine. A mailbox. An e-handbook. There's 3 of them. What are they doing here? So you finally found them. Did you know these were here, Byakuya? I happened to find them by chance myself the other day. Seems there's a system in place where the handbooks of dead students get delivered to this mailbox. So then, these 3 handbooks belong to Junko, Leon, and Sayaka. Leon. Leon?
Leon, yeah.
Leon. You can go ahead and confirm it yourself. Okay, that didn't go the direction I was thinking it would, but turned on one of the handbooks when I did. Sayaka Maizono. You're right, this is Sayaka's handbook. Now do you understand? This is the key to the loophole that I revealed earlier. Yeah, I feel like I'm starting to get it. You should pay closer attention to the regulations. The answer has been in front of you the entire time. Loaning is prohibited. Only loaning is prohibited. Borrowing is fine. So now I understand. Okay. That loosens it up even further. You wouldn't even have to kill someone outside the locker room. You could take one of these, sneak in, and be waiting for Chihiro. All you would need is to know that she was coming here at night when she thought it was empty. Okay. So it really could be anyone.
What?
Hold on a second. What's wrong?
Very strange.
That's strange. One of the handbooks won't turn on. Is it broken? Whose is it? The other handbook showed Junko's name when I started it up. The one that won't turn on must be Leon's then, right?
I see.
It would make sense, yes. After all, he did get pummeled with dozens and dozens of baseballs. Pummeled with baseballs. Oh yeah, that's right. He got beaten to death. That cruel punishment which led to his death. The murder, the punishment for Leon, the punishment that killed Leon, Leon's punishment. Like, in Emperor's New Groove, it was funny. Here, it's just fucking obtuse. A cruel, heartless death. Oh, woe be unto Leon, who died the death of pain that was delivered unto him by the mastermind.
This is just a Japanese thing. Just in general. Like, no offense, Japan, but shut the fuck up.
It was only cute when Kronk did it because he did it with better
Kronk?
poise. Kronk? I mean, Kronk can get Kronk. Let's get Kronk's New Groove.
That's a movie.
Does he change his name to Kronk?
No.
Damn. I don't remember Kronk's New Groove, but we should watch it.
Okay.
Yes.
But anywho.
Wait, hold on.
What? Anyway.
Anyways.
Japan, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because, in general, this is just something that all Japanese games do. And I'm kind of tired of it.
And that's...
Like, all the flashbacks, it's like, yeah, we know, we were there, we saw what happened.
I mean, the flashback about Genocide Jack was good because I honestly had forgotten that part.
Yes, it was relevant, but we did not forget about the traumatization of Makoto.
Yeah.
And this man's killing.
Yeah, their discussion of a serial killer that happened in the past was, at the time, less important and less memorable than watching a man get beaten to death by baseballs.
But just in general, all the inner monologue and the spoon feeding of either exposition or just information in general. Stop it.
Yeah. Also, I hope someone goes on a double kill in this chapter or the next, because it means more people die and the game would progress faster.
Kadaka, I love you, but stop it. Japan, I love you, but stop, please.
You're right. It wouldn't be surprising for the handbook to break during that kind of assault.
Because this isn't just a video game problem, it's an anime problem as well that I want to address, because because when we were watching, what was that animation?
Babe, we're out of time.
Oh, well, I just want to talk about it.
Okay, we can talk about it.
Okay, well,
The viewers need to hear it.
Yes, because you've gone on so many rants.
Alright, now we've got time for a rant. I'll get the bag of chips.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. I lost my place. But what was that one anime you showed me?
Bleach, Soul Eater.
Soul Eater, yes. I was really into it for the first couple of episodes that I watched with him. Granted, we were alternating between watching that and watching a different show.
Yeah.
But then I tried to binge watch it on my own. And it got to a point where I absolutely hated it. Outside of like maybe two characters, Frankenstein and Excalibur, I love them. But
you named my favorite characters. Thank you.
but I could not stand every single character after that because there was so much inner monologue, so many rehashing of what happened in the last episode that I just watched. And I understand, like, there are just things that you're not meant to binge. Like, it could be, you know, that it aired, you know, not in sequentially, and I'm not meant to binge it. And it's like, it's going over, you know, older episodes, like catching you up on what happened.
And that's the thing. Any show that predates streaming, they need to include that kind of rehashing. Because if someone missed an episode, they need to understand what's going on. So,
however, there was so much inner monologue during action scenes as well. It's just like I don't need to know what they're thinking all the time. Just let the action scene happen, because they would stand there for as long as a Sailor Moon transformation, like where the villain could have easily just killed them then and there. It's like, shut the fuck up, stop thinking to yourself for 5 minutes. And I actually went on, you know, I timed it at one point, like how long one of the inner monologues went, and it was during like one of like the season finales, and I shit you not, it was like 7 minutes of the girl, Maki or whatever her name, just thinking to herself. And it's like, do something! I've been watching this one shot of you just looking at this person for the longest time. Do something!
now, Dragon Ball Z had a very similar problem, but I know where that problem came from. That problem came from
Japan.
Not just from Japan. They had to make an entire season out of a single manga book, and that meant they had to pad a fuckload of time. There was so much time, in the later seasons get better at this, but the early seasons, specifically the Freezer Saga, there is so much rehashing and inner monologue and time padding because they're trying to stretch like 6 pages into an episode, I think is what the manga to show equivalent was. For every 6 pages in the manga, they needed to make an entire half-hour episode out of it, and you can't do that without massively time padding. So in some animes, it's shit, and I hate it, but there is a root cause of it. I don't know if Soul Eater had a similar problem, or if that was just, you know, baked into the culture at that point.
Considering how often I've seen it in an anime, I think it's probably a culture thing. I don't know if it's a thing still that's going on today, because I haven't watched very many, like, very recent animes, except Violet Evergarden, and I don't think she does that much inner monologue.
I watched part of Karakuri Circus. That one's pretty interesting. There wasn't a lot of inner monologue that I hated, and there wasn't much time padding either.
Yeah.
That was pretty well, but again, that was made for streaming, so it takes a little bit of a different approach to it. But anyways, we're way over time.
Yeah.
All right, so
but that was a rant that I just need to get out, because I just want, because this is a thing that still goes on in games today, and stop it. Stop spoon feeding information and stop rehashing, unless the information is relevant in the time.
yeah. Or if the information was something that might have been overlooked.
Or if it serves as character development. But I promise you, not all of it serves as character development. Like, we get it. Makoto's a scared little bitch, and he has feelings over this, and he's traumatized. We get it, okay? We get it.
End takeaway. The player might have forgotten the discussion about that one serial killer. The player did not forget about the brutal murder punishment that thematically fit that dude's talent. One of those is an idle conversation between characters that may or may not be important to the story. The other is one of the characters dying. One of those is very clearly going to be more memorable, and one of those does not need to be rehashed. We were there, we remember. But anyways, we're way over time, and our curtain is calling to us loud. So we'll have to continue this investigation next time. But until then, don't forget to punch that like button, and I'll see you in the echoes.